Is there anything more exciting than building a launch plan? Well, probably the actual launch. But before we get there, what is it you need to do to ensure that your launch of your product or your business or your service goes off without a hitch? Well, I mean, I've never had a launch go off without a hitch, but as hitch-free as humanly possible. So we're going to have a quick look at all of the things you should think about as you're planning your marketing launch. And it's just going to be really granular, a tick box exercise, and there is a worksheet down below to work through as well. Again, as always, you will need to tailor this to you and your business, but this is a good start. A lot of people will tell you need to work 12 to 24 months out for launch. Probably, maybe in a corporate world you do. In a small business, I don't agree. You want to be getting things out as quickly as you can, ensuring you do everything right, because speed to market can be enormously critical when you don't have the money to compete. So let's say 9 months before launch. First thing you really want to have to think about is who your audience is. Hopefully you've worked through some of the prior modules about working out who your audience is, but who is it that this launch is tailored to? If this is a product, that's very important. If it's a business, you want to think about who your early adopters will be. Obviously, you will have all of this already because you've done the modules, right? If you haven't, now is the time. So start defining your audience for the launch. And if you don't know the difference between a target market and a target audience, my target market module will walk you through it. Next up, you want to develop your marketing strategy. Oh, it's so easy to create a marketing strategy. I say that so lightly, but you want to start thinking about your strategy. What is your product's unique selling point? Your unique selling propositions? Yes, I have a module on how you should figure that out. What are the goals that you will measure against to ensure whether you know your launch was successful or not? Because obviously there's no point throwing all this money towards a launch or doing it for free and just a lot of time if you don't know if it's going to be successful. You want to determine your marketing budget if you have one. That's okay if you don't. And you want to select which marketing channels you're going to use. So are you going to do a TV ad if you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars? Are you just going to use social media? Are you just going to do flyers? There's a whole bunch of ways to reach people. What are you going to do? Next, you want to craft your brand story. There's another module for this too, so hopefully you've gone through this one. What is the story of your brand? Stories are so important. Storytelling is something we talk about a lot. You want people to buy into the romance, the purpose, the mission behind your business. You're a mission-driven entrepreneur. Let's start telling that story about your why. This narrative is going to guide your content creation, your marketing efforts, make your product and your business relatable and memorable. Because remember, you've got 100 million other things to compete against. So we want to make you memorable. Now, about 4 months before your launch, we're assuming this is probably a new business for this particular one, you're going to want to start building your online presence. So let's build a website. I'm currently building a website for my secret business, Incredibles. If you're not listening to my podcast as I build that business alongside you, I highly recommend you go and give it a listen. So build a website, have a think about your social media presence, what channels you want to be on and why. Yes, there's a module on which channels you should be on and why. How else can you establish your presence online to start building a bit of an audience? Now, used to be a few years ago when you couldn't talk about your business until it was ready to launch and your product was ready to buy. Nowadays, it's not so much. Nowadays, consumers want to come along the journey with you and help you build that business. They will help you build community around your business. And that's exactly what I am doing with Incredibles. Incredibles is months from launch, but I'm still talking about it. About 3 months before launch, you want to start creating your marketing collateral. So this is things like creative, your videos, infographics, whatever it is that you want to create to start supporting your launch. Blog posts, articles on things like stuff.co.nz if you can get them. It's easier than you think. Just make sure they're compelling, exciting, and if your product is particularly complicated, simple. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now. So 2 months before launch, you want to start thinking PR and influencers. Now, PR can be a funny thing because obviously your print media lead times are very long. So if you want a big story in the press that's printed in a printed magazine, you need to be working 4 to 5 months out with a reporter to get that printed. I don't recommend doing that because the possibility for leaks is up there. Things may change, timelines may change. I've always been a little bit nervous about having a launch in print, which is so much less flexible. If I were you, I would work with having a launch online. So by that, I mean things like stuff.co.nz or the NZ Herald or the Sydney Morning Herald or whatever. A big piece of press in an online outlet will be incredibly useful. But you want to start thinking about that now because you want to ensure that your PR is personalized to each reporter. You want to ensure that you don't saturate the market because you want to give some exclusivity to get people to get really excited, reporters to get really excited about it. You also want to think about influencers and bloggers or maybe YouTubers or TikTokers or whatever else that will suit your business and start listing down who you want to be involved and why. Can you afford them? Start asking for press kits. Start understanding how much that will cost you or if people are willing to do these things for free for you, as PR does. Now it's getting real. We're a month out from launch. You are equal parts terrified and excited. I know I always am. So 4 weeks out, let's start teaser campaigns. This is where you're going to start aggressively talking about your potential upcoming launch. It creates buzz around your product. It gets people interested. It gets people excited. Now, this is what I did for our equity crowdfunding campaigns. Weeks and weeks before our campaign was due to launch, I got people to sign up to our newsletter specifically for the investment. I got people excited about why they should invest in a teak. They can be as simple as a countdown on your website or social media pages, or they can be super elaborate, like a mystery campaign where features of your product are slowly released. You want to be using the email marketing list that you've already built, continuing to grow it, and your social media channels to reach out to your audience and continue to build that community. 3 weeks out, you need to be finalizing that content. You do not want to be doing this any closer to launch. Trust me. The chaos of the week before launch is already chaotic enough. So make sure you're creative, right? Your videos are edited, your blog posts, everything is ready to go, and you've ticked all of the boxes. 2 weeks out, you want to go back out to your PR and influencers. You want to ensure that they have everything they need. So you want to do any send outs that you need to. You want to ensure reporters have all the up-to-date information, including out new press releases. You want to, again, personalize these and explain why your product will be interesting to their audience. Ensure that your influencers know when to post, because I've had several instances where influencers have gone live with a brand new launch well in advance of launch date. We've got 1 week to go. Now we're going to get final preparations. You have got PR sorted, you've got your influencers, you've got all of your marketing collateral. Obviously, I'm not talking about anything to do with your product or your business here. This is just a marketing launch. So finally, you are going to ramp up the customer engagement. So do a live Q&A session on social media. Do some live streams, some webinars, some podcasts. Get, again, more and more excitement and buzz around this launch. So use this opportunity to answer queries or questions or concerns or anything that people are asking about your product or business. Now is also the time to check your technical aspects. And how many times have we seen massive launches and the website collapses, or Taylor Swift tickets go on sale and all of a sudden the ticket portal dies? You do not want that to happen to you. So get some friends and family to try and break your website. We have a designated breaker at a teak who will find a way. And every time she does, it's enormously helpful because, customers will do the same, and we can block that problem before it ever happens. It is 2 days to go. It is very exciting. You're probably still a little bit nervous. You're probably more nervous. Now is the time to send out reminders to your email list. Post on social media. It is 48 hours to go. Again, have a countdown on social media. Start talking about it more and more. Get people excited. It's often a nice time to sort of show behind the scenes. So any last minute preparations, you can totally show that you're a human and stressed and excited about it. And another great thing to do at this point too is to share testimonials from people you may have snuck your product to. So those same influencers who may have used the product early, get them to share a testimonial or two and talk about it before anyone else has even seen it. Launch day is almost anticlimactic. It's a little bit like the day after your wedding, right? You think, oh, well, that was a lot of work. Now what? Well, now it's the marriage, right? Now it's the hard work. Make sure you've gone live. You've posted all of the content you've already prepared, but you weren't stressed about it because you did it weeks ago. You make sure your product's available. And then stay online. Don't launch and wander off and go for a walk or something. Stay online. Ensure you answer questions on social media as quickly as possible to start drumming up interest and get those posts and videos showing in people's feeds. Keep the energy high. If you've got a team, get your team revved up. Have a really fun, exciting day where you are one-on-one with your customers at all times. And try and keep that up for 48 hours after launch. It's a lot of work, but that is the time you're going to get the most engagement for consumers, and you really want to capitalize on it. And after that, of course, you want to monitor everything closely. So traffic, social media engagement, your sales numbers, customer feedback. So monitor, engage, and tweak if necessary. Tweaking your product's obviously a bit difficult, but you can tweak all sorts of things from messaging to how something shows up on your website to how it's talked about on social media. And there's no point in having a launch if you're not going to measure what's successful and what's not for your next one. Happy launching.